Hello, I'm Bernard Keevy. The theme of today's presentation is how you can expect to have um, any coach who works with you pay for themselves within the first 90 days. I'll explain exactly how that can work. So I'm going to go back to something I looked at the other day, first of all, which is what we call the 6-step profit formula, which effectively says that at the bottom line for any business is made up of how many leads you generate and how many you convert, which gives you your number of customers. So in this case, 1,000 leads, and if you converted 60%, that would give you 600 customers. How often do they buy? 6 times a year here. And how much they spend? £50 each time. That would give you your turnover, which is 180,000. And then you take off your variable costs from your sales price here to tell you that your gross margin would be 60%, because £50 minus £20 is £30, and £30 divided by £50 is 60%. You then say, right, so therefore, if your turnover is 180,000 and your gross margin is 60%, your gross profit must be 108,000. You would then take off your fixed overheads, fixed costs of 20,000 in this instance to get your net profit of 88,000. Right, now let's just explain some terms. The variable costs, they are the things that go up in proportion to how much you produce and sell. So they'd be things like raw materials, components, maybe bonus rates, commission rates, license rates, etc. Whereas your fixed costs here, they're the things that you have to pay, certainly in the short term, over the next few months. You have to pay these, whether you're making whether you're selling a lot or selling very little. So these are called fixed because you can't change them in the short term. Now, that's how the net profit figure works. So first of all, if all you did was made a 1% improvement a week in each of these 6 things here, then you would automatically take your profit up from 88,000 to 195,000, because 1% a week over 13 weeks, which is 90 days, which is the first quarter of the year, or a quarter of a year, would take your leads up by 14% to 1140, and your conversion rate up by 14% to 68%. Now, is that doable? Well, yes, of course it's doable. There must be ideas that you haven't thought of for generating leads. There must be systems in place for doing it in a more systematic way. And you must have a better way of following leads and nurturing them and converting a higher proportion. So 1% a week for the first 13 weeks would be very simple. Well, that would take your number of customers up to 780. Right, how could you get your existing customers to buy from you more often? Well, again, could you improve that figure by 1% a week? If you did, it would take it up to just under 7 instead of 6. Well, again, could you not do things like regular communication, regular offers, just regular phone calls, or getting in touch with them? All sorts of strategies you can use there. And similarly for getting your price up, what you need here is some way of standing out from your competitors. So you either need to innovate your product more, or more closely identify your ideal target customer so that you can be the specialist or the expert, or get your message across better as to why to use you, which is called persuasive marketing, which very few people do properly. You follow what's called the conversion equation, which I've covered on other occasions, which is interrupt, here's your main issue, problem or concern. Engage, which is I can offer you a solution. Educate, which is this is how it works, and this is why you can be confident that it does work for you because all these other people have tried it. And then offer, which basically says to find out more, give me your details and I'll give you further information to help you along your buyer's journey, because at any given time less than 1% of prospects are now buyers, other than everyday purchases, impulse buys and emergency purchases. But for most things, most services, certainly that's the case. So if you could increase these at 1% a week, your turnover is nearly doubled. You could get, now, could you get your variable costs down by 10%? Well, or 14% in this instance? Well, the answer there is very simply yes, because I've actually got a proprietary system which will actually compare